It's been quite an interesting week, a week where we've seen many people discuss various issues. The Luyas, we know you are feeding nation. We'll come to that story. I'm your host, CEO Charles Otieno, alongside the beautiful ladies and gentlemen here.
My name is Wanja Maina. I describe myself as a Pan-Africanist. I describe myself as a gender person. I describe myself as a writer. And most importantly, a fun-loving Kenyan.
Okay. Well.
Wanja loves to have fun.
And you?
And I am Maria Nyambane Waweru. I'm an author, but before I say anything, thank you so much for the support you've been giving. Yes, we are seeing your comments, you're seeing your talks, and we are seeing how much you're supporting everything that we do. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Tune in for this show because it looks like it's going to be interesting.
Oh yes, it's gonna be interesting because Simon says I say things as they are and I say it in a bold way. But thank you to all you guys who even meet me inside the road and say, hey, by the way, I like you on that show. It's like I appreciate you and thank you so much on all those instances that you guys reach out to me. But CEO,
Yeah, man.
see, let's start on a healthy note.
It's healthy.
Yes.
I said in the intro that Luyas are feeding nation. And it's very interesting that 67% of Western Kenya spend their money on food.
Alone.
67 of their income on food.
Wow.
The budget is food 67%.
Wow. Now, the other day, there's a lady who was, chicken is revered in Luya land. It's revered. It's like goat in Kikuyu land. You can't just eat any part.
Okay.
So this lady decided to chew some parts which are meant for men.
Which parts are these?
Like the gizzard, like the drumstick. And the man was wondering, when this chicken, it had only one drumstick.
Why is he choosing the best part?
So when he came back, when he
He
found
came
one,
and he realized the woman had chewed one. And the woman was sent to packing.
very fast.
Very fast.
That was the wife.
Yeah.
Hey, see, men have standards there.
You cannot just eat any part of chicken without...
Why are they choosing the best parts?
Those are the best parts, or those are the parts that that are not exclusive to you. Because even this shows that even sometimes, in a form of rebellion, your own wife will do something when she knows very well that's not hers, even just to test the barriers. This is a prime case of a man expressing his barriers. He did not commit domestic violence. He just simply said, go back home, because you have overstepped the boundary in which I have said. Yes, that was his deal breaker. You see how, ladies, you're told that now, you say we respect deal breakers and everything. When a man has set boundaries, and he said that indeed, when this happens, that will be the end of the relationship, and you agree to come to his house, and you decide to eat the drumstick, the chicken, and he sends you back home. That was a very honorable man. He exercised he said, now, hey, listen, now go back home, and he sent you back home. But, here's the twist in this. Anytime I see this kind of behavior, I see it as a very poverty mindset. Yes. And here's what I mean by this. If your whole relationship, at times, you have brought a whole human being and you distract the whole relationship just because of this particular thing, it may have been the final straw, yes. But if you guys are not able to communicate beyond the realms of just food alone, and you know the food that even Luya land is what gives them those strong legs of theirs. Even those women, they have even masculine base like where they can actually even hold up a whole family. The whole idea is you're supposed to now make sure you have higher standards of your actual relationship than food alone. That's also a big issue. And if the lady knew that was also a big issue, she should also exercise self-control and respect even to the man.
You are aware that the times have changed. Nowadays, you can go buy a kilo of gizzards or a kilo of drumsticks. It's not like the olden days when slaughtering a chicken is the only way out. Nowadays, you can buy them in kilos. But this is the point. Who came up with the choice of parts? And why were men given the sweetest? Because if I was in that marriage, I would have gone on week one. That I know, because I love gizzard. And surely drumstick is there too. Have one, I have one. Let's share. But how do you send your wife away? The mother of your children, the woman who cleans and cooks for you.
Boundaries.
Because there is no boundary on food.
Yes, there are. Oh, there's boundaries on food.
So this is such someone who is trying to be primitive enough and to feel like, let me show people that I am powerful. But if you wanted to show power, not on food. And I understand those are cultures, but it's time that we say goodbye to those cultures because times have changed. If I was that woman before I leave, I would have bought you a kilo of gizzard and a kilo of drumsticks first. Kula yote, no.
Well, sips water.
What do you think?
Would you eat a drumstick?
Me, I would say, I just agree with Maria Kabisa. Like, the things that are women are told not to do are the things that are really good. For example, your gizzard, to miguu, to drumstick. In some communities, like in the coastal communities, wanaambia wasikunywe hizi pombe ya mnazi. Yet we know that inakuanga na kautamu fulani kale ka unique, inaambia ni pombe ya wazee. If you come to my community, the community of my mother, there's an alcoholic, a locally, worldly acclaimed called Moratina. It is just fermented things that are done nicely, can harm nobody. They are told that they are not supposed to be taken by women. There are a lot of taboos, food taboos.
Martina,
And
women are not supposed to take Martina?
there are so many rules, like it's men when they are talking about community issues. We just do, we take behind the curtain, but if you really look at it, how it's done, you go, there's this part of a goat in our community. And then when men eat, you can see them wakichukua hiyo kabono wanagongesha kwa meza. Wanasema sijui inafaa kufanya nini. Women have always been told a lot of don'ts. Usifanye. But hizo don'ts zote, there's no any justification whatsoever. Like, Maria is attempting to think, what is the worst that can happen to a person who has eaten a drumstick? For me, I would say, if we are really modern, we just need to allow women to have a balanced, nutritious diet.
Yes.
Eat your proteins, eat your cabbages and whatever. Take your munazi, beer, take your moratina. Please, as women, we reject this kind of operations that have no any meaningful. There's nothing
That were made
meaningful
by a
around
selfish
it.
person who knew what sweet was and then chose that.
Yes. Even there's a time we went to a party somewhere in Karen. There's a time we went to a party somewhere in Karen. There are those meats, those meats that are made where you can see it's made somewhere in a corner in a roasting place that is modified. And then they were smelling so nice. So the person I was with alikuwa ananiambia kwanza hiyo ni side ya wababa. There are a lot of two demarcations side ya wababa. Me I told him, unaona hiyo yenye inachomeka, you just get for me. So he just got for me, but there was a nika racism mama tukaitaje?
Discrimination.
Nika apartheid fulani.
Yeah, I get you.
Watu wamekaa inside wanakula tu vitu tutamu tu vitu tumechoma. And then us we are just there eating cabbages and having stories and taking tea. Who has ever died of taking munazi, fermented beer? Who has ever died of taking moratina? Reject.
There's something I want to just add because you said something there. When it comes to sectioning, people who are usually now told don't take usually think that is the sweetest. That is not necessarily the case. Because even when you said about even section was there's some things even me as a young guy, even me as a guy who's not married, I cannot participate in some things because I have not acquired, I've not been married or I'm not even a wazee. So I cannot partake in maybe in this particular drinking of this particular brew in this particular section. It's not necessarily for me to say, oh, because that's that rebellious nature of the teenager who's saying, why can't I not have intercourse right now? Why can I not have this particular drug right now? Because you have not recognized maybe a certain threshold in that thing. I recognize that. I recognize that you've not reached a certain threshold or you're not even supposed to partake of it. Now complaining that saying that is the sweetest, that is also even a lie. That is not always the sweetest part even of a chicken. That is not always the sweetest part of even parts of things. But I'm sure they have various meanings that even CEO can even explain to you.
You see, I always say that.
Oh no.
I always say that food is very spiritual.
And then
What is spiritual about a drumstick?
And I'll tell you why. Food is very spiritual.
Oh goodness.
And that's why the Bible says, I've given you this food to eat, and this is not to eat.
To every human being.
I'll come to there. To every human being, these are the animals you can eat and this one you cannot eat. So that's the very spiritual nature of what you eat, because it is part of you, it is what you make you go to where the lengths you are going. But remember, in certain cultures, like in Luyaland, chicken is not only used as food, it is used for taboos as well. If there's something which was going to be done, remember, food is used in various aspects. And that's why these demarcations are very clear. If you go to Kikuyu land, and I always say that part of, I was writing the other day, and I was saying that if you look at the Nilotic, they have a spiritual connection with the cows, with the animals. Any Nilot, the Dinka, the Nuer, those guys can cry when a cow dies because of that connection they have with the animals. But if you come to Luos, they don't have that connection because they lost the cultural affinity with the cows when they reached Uganda, when Rinderpest wiped their animals. So the Luos, and from where they sit, they also lie towards the Luyas, and they use chicken a lot for their cultural activities. And I can tell you there are parts of chicken which even in Luoland, it's only the old men who will eat, like the back. Even now, if I go to the village and my father is there are some parts of the chicken I don't eat myself. But I can still afford to buy my chicken. It is a setting you are in. It is not you affording it. It is a setting you are in. If you are in that environment where these people believe and behave in a certain manner, then you have to follow what they do. So, Maria, you can afford to buy even a whole packet of gizzards.
Yeah.
But if you go to the village,
I will not eat it.
you will not eat it.
You just look at it
You look at it.
and salivate.
And the person who knows, because remember, to them, they are in still that environment where if you try to eat that thing, and even what Wanje is saying, in a goat, that there's a bone there,
Yeah.
is only for men. They have to crack it. If you go there today to Mr. Waweru and you say you'll eat that bit, he will be shocked.
I've never even seen it. I'll go see it this December.
He'll look at you and
See
say,
it or
what are
eat
you
it.
talking about? And even
I
Simon,
just need to see it.
and these are cultures.
Because
let
in
me-
Kisii, I know it's the back, but I don't care about the back.
Even
It
today,
doesn't even have meat.
us as men, if you go to Kikuyu land, if you reach a certain age, Simon, you are supposed to bring a goat you eat with your peers.
yeah.
If you've not reached there, you cannot do it. So we cannot sit down here and pretend
That doesn't happen.
that this thing does not happen. Today, the most upward mobility people today, young men who are driving big cars, they go to the villages to give mbuzi yao ya wazee to be welcomed into that society. Our cultures are definite.
Sure.
Our cultures represent us. So you cannot say, mimi kama Simon, when I reach 45, I will not give that mbuzi. People will look at you. You realize all your friends have given that mbuzi.
You're the only one.
You're the only one. And then people will not come to your house. They say, we are toa mbuzi. So these things connect with people. It is more of how we've been living together and how our way of life is. So that man probably overreacted.
A lot.
But the truth is, the woman knows if you're married in such an environment, why do you eat that and you know it will bring problems?
See you. Speaking of culture, speaking of eating, speaking of our way of life,
Yeah.
let's talk about black tax.
Yeah.
Tax, yeah, black. How dark is black tax?
As CEO's shirt.
Basically, black tax imekuwa ikiongelewa. There is this, what's her name? The
Elsa
one-
Majimbo.
Elsa Majimbo talked about it. South Africans. In fact, there is a girl who wrote her whole education thesis on black tax. So, simple definition ni, kwa family, in your family, the people who have become professionals or gotten income generating activities, an innate obligation kusaidia wale watu wenye kwa family they are still in poverty, to try and get them out of poverty, to give them money and to send them support. And it's almost an obligation and it's expected of you, and you have to do it to help family and friends in the village or wherever they live in the informal settlement. How is everyone feeling? And I'll start with Simon because amekumbuka Elsa.
Yes. The main thing, I'll just start with this. As a firstborn, usually what happens is black tax, it's there, but if you come to me with a level of entitlement, I will not be afraid to tell you no straight to your face in a shrewd manner. And here's what I mean. The way someone takes no for an answer, I judge whether even you deserve my yes. And because if that black tax has also been used as leverage amongst us Africans to even pull people down back to poverty. What I recognize is this. Black tax is also a very good way to even honor your parents and people who've actually even helped you along the way. For example, if my dad, even I feel like, okay, I have something extra, I send him something, whatever, I don't even view it as a tax, I view it as a most of appreciation or just something to even send. Even if I send my mom something, that's more or less as appreciation because I know that money will be used for the benefit of the family and that's not money that's just going to be frivolously used anyhow. But now, when people are overreaching, some do cousins from wherever, some uncles, some specific uncles I can help because I have seen the utility and use in my life. Because I've seen even the way that even they've guided me, their wisdom, so on and so forth. With the reason black tax now comes into a very bad taste, especially amongst us young guys, is the audacity that you come into my life and then you dare ask me for something. I tell you, no, I can't. And then you start saying, oh, you see how they are not whatever, whatever. That moment, that response of disdain and that response of entitlement is when I look at you and saying, you do not even deserve even a coin. And not even that, I will not even give you anything. That black tax that you even asked for, that money that you even asked for whatever it was, even if it's a genuine request, the fact that even you took no for an answer in the wrongest way, I even wish, even I don't care what issue that you're going with, I even will see you go through the issue and I will enjoy seeing you go through the issue because I know you as a person, you do not even have the character to even ask for it in a proper way, or even the way that you even come to me in a way of disgust and entitlement. I do not take entitlement. That's why there's a thin line between black tax and entitlement. When you now overstep to entitlement, I don't care. Hell no. And I will let you know why I'm telling you no. I'm someone who's comfortable telling you no. And if you insist, I'll even tell you the why. And I'll tell you straight to your face so that you even know you got to come to me properly when you're even asking me. Remember, you're coming with your open hand. All right? Walk in a certain way. Especially if you know our relationship is a little bit distant. Now, there's a level of entitlement I can accept even from my dad in a circle. But you also have to know the relationship that you have with the person that you are asking something from. That's what requires emotional intelligence, no matter the age. Especially when it's someone older coming to you just because they see that you're doing better off, and they come with a level of entitlement. And yet, they know very well your relationship and their relationship, you are so distant, even a hello has been how many years ago?
Where? You know, Simon, these days he has wisdom.
Simon is
How
the
you
firstborn.
take my yes, you will determine how you take my no.
Yes.
Anyway, Maria, we are with you.
Someone is the firstborn.
Simon.
Yes.
Yeah. I am the lastborn.
Do you experience black tax really?
Why did you say that?
Who's gonna come and ask you, like, seriously? See, you're the one who gets everything. Actually, you're the source of black tax. It's you guys. See, it's the truth. It's you guys, because I wouldn't lie, even my little baby brother, see, it's him now, even when something's short, it's me. You guys are the ones who even get all the you're the one who receives black tax, actually.
Actually, no.
Yes, you're the
No,
one.
it also depends with the setup. For us, we're only two in our family, me and my brother. For me, giving my parents something, I don't call it black tax. I call it like I'm appreciating you. But there's a line I draw. I need to have a stream of income whereby when my parents need me, I will be able to afford to give them money. But if I don't do that, if I give everything, I will not be able to work, invest, pump something into the business, or even save something so that on a rainy day, I can be there to help. So if the one thing that I always say about black tax is, no, you know your income first, and budget yourself, because these people are going to need you all their lives, and you are supposed to be there all their lives, because they were with you before you got where you are. So if that is the case, you need to think of a way that you can ensure that you are there for them as much as you can. Now, for me, this is what I don't do. And I'm sorry. If you're watching and you're a relative, I'm really sorry. First of all, spendi mazoeano. Sipendi mazoeano. You don't come to me, you're working, you have an income. But because my life looks a certain way, now you expect me to give you, even when you know you're not lacking, and you're not my mother, and you're not my father. You don't.
Who are you?
You don't come to me just because I am your cousin, you know. You don't come to me if you've refused to go to school. I don't want to study. Masomo yamekuwa ngumu. Monday, nisaidie rent. Tuesday, help me with food. You don't come to me like that. I draw the line whereby if this black tax is for the extended family, mi si mchoyo. I'm just trying to improve my life too, because I am so sure the day I will not have money, the words that always come, alikuwa naringa, saya na kitu. I have to draw the line when it comes to black tax. For my parents, it's not black tax, it's appreciation. But also with them. A good parent wants you to grow. They don't milk you dry. A good parent is interested in your growth because they don't want your children to come eventually and be relying on you because you did not even have enough to fund their education. And this is what I always tell parents. Have money and children, not children to give you money. When you know the difference, you will realize that instead of me focusing on giving back so that my children can come and help me, those were the olden days. Now we are in the generation whereby I'm having enough kids and also investing enough so that I know that in future, I don't have to take away my children's future just for me to be comfortable. And I wish every parent would think like that. I'm so glad my parents believe that, by the way. They don't pressure me, thank God. But extended family, thank you so much. I know you think I'm blessed. But I work hard.
Wow, CEO.
See you.
CEO.
I don't have any problem with the black tax whatsoever, personally. And I
what
believe,
extent?
because I believe in, if I'm blessed the way I am, I try to uplift, and it's in a cultural aspect.
Do you ever say no?
I say no, yes, but I believe in making sure that people around me are comfortable so that they are not a burden to me. And you see this black tax thing, it has become a new phrase to many people. But remember that for a very long time, even now, if my aunt is sick, I will still take her to hospital because I want her to continue living. If my brothers, personally, I've educated all my brothers. And I don't feel, because I didn't want to be the only man with money in our family. I wanted that when now they have money, if this thing comes, we help each other. And as we help each other, even in our cousins, I'm speaking as our larger Rawed family. Right now, my cousin who works in State House, if I want stones to build, he'll bring. He will not even charge me because we have been in each other's life. It depends on how you grew up as a family. For us, we grew up as one unit. So my cousin can come into my house and he says, I don't have money. And I'll give him money. It depends on how you are brought up.
But see, you are speaking from the point of privilege.
Yes, and I'm saying that because I'm speaking from point of privilege.
Others are not privileged to get there.
And also, I'm saying because, I'm speaking that because, remember, I was seeing if I do not help these other younger brothers of mine to go to school because my father didn't have enough income, all these kids would have gotten married at class 8 or Form 1 or Form 2 or dropped out of school. Today, I will be educating their kids. Now they are educating their own kids. I would rather have made that sacrifice, Simon. You'd rather take care of your younger brother now for him to get something on his hands to stand on his own so that you do not, he doesn't become a burden to you for the rest of his life.
What
CEO.
about the ones that you try to educate and they still don't want, and then they come back now to you with those children to help?
There's nothing like that.
Yeah. Well, I know we are about
I told you.
I know we are about to break, but let me chime
He's
in.
talking from a point of privilege.
Let me chime
No,
in,
me, I'm-
kidogo, and just say that, you know, there's a quote I saw on the internet that says that givers should know their limits,
Yes.
because takers do not have any limit.
Thank you.
In a way, while I do appreciate traditional African society and how we are set up, where we're supposed to be communal, sometimes I feel like people who give so much to their relatives in the village or in the cities, or who are not doing well, they are enablers of their laziness.
Yes.
They are enablers of them not taking an effort. I know of someone in America who usually shops for the brother, and the brother is kona ukoma 30-something, you know, shops them even for household items. You realize that that brother can be supported in such a way that they'll be able to be economically empowered to buy for themselves household items. In my view, I think while it's good to give to the family, limits.
Limits has to be there, because this sometimes you find people who do not know that they are being helped. They feel like it's my right.
Entitlement.
Entitlement, and that's what it is.
Entitlement is disgusting, and that's just us keeping it real. Keep it locked right here on Let's Be Real.
Welcome back to Let's Be Real. It's been a very interesting show, and I know all of you are now discussing down there about the black tax. Yes, it's a real thing. Now we are going to a more, is it heavier or funny topic? I'll call it funny. In my book, Marriage is a Scam, Chapter 3, I talk about kids.
Chapter 3.
Yeah, Chapter 3.
Page?
Talk about kids. Page 33.
Yes. Go ahead.
I talk about kids. And you know, first of all, having kids is a choice. Okay, in the current society, actually having children is a choice.
And not having them is
And
also
not
a choice.
having them is a choice. The number of children is also a choice, and also on economic factors. That also plays a role. And the previous topic was black tax, not have them so that they can give you money. And another thing is, having children is something that some parents feel like, I want more, I can afford them, I have land, and I want less because I'm busy to parent them. That's also another choice you should make. Are you there to parent your children? Now, there's a woman, the whole clan came to her and told her, stop having babies after giving birth to a 7th born. Yeah. I'm thinking of that because right now I'm counting from my mother's side, I think there were 9. From my father's side, there are 7. And I think most of the people who were giving birth during that time, they stopped at menopause. They were not planning to stop. So what is happening to our society? Is it right to tell someone, stop having babies? Or is it none of your business? Or are we just trying to push people into family planning when they are not even willing and ready to go to them?
See, you want to start with this one?
You know, I always wonder why people are saying people should have kids as much as you want.
Says the man who doesn't have many.
Yeah. And also, by the way, I'm a supporter of big families.
What's a big family?
A big family is people who, if you can afford to
5 or more?
have 6 or 7 kids,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it, because I remember that I've seen many people who have those bigger families, when they come together,
It's amazing.
they help each other, or if they want to do things, the burden is not on one person. If you have a fewer kids, then those fewer kids will have to carry a lot of burden. So I always say that traditionally people would get kids irrespective of
Status.
the economic status you have. And I always say, do not prescribe to someone your skill set or your money or your income, because look at it this way. The biggest problem we have in this country today is that some villages, even here in Central, we have very few kids, and people are complaining already. And if you go to Northeastern, where it's dry, a man has 2 or 3 wives, and 18 children. If you look at the number of kids in Kakamega, the average is about 6 per family, isn't it?
6.
6 per family. If you go to Northeastern, the average per family is 10. If you come to Central, the average is around 3 or less. So if you look at this way, at a certain time, remember our politicians always think of these numbers also as votes and also as income. People will sit down and you'll come and realize that the people who have more kids will control more economic empowerment than anyone else.
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to, honestly, what I see, I'm glad even you pointed out the various sections of the country. All those sections that you pointed out, those are poverty-stricken areas.
Yes.
Those are poverty-stricken areas. Even right now in this economy, it's a very, I think it's poverty-driven behavior to actually go out there and just going out and having so many kids previously. This whole community that came out here to tell these people to, hey, stop reproducing, they would have no issue if they see that they can afford those kids. Yeah. Honestly, in my heart of hearts, I even say this. Not everybody is even financially or mentally ready to have kids. Just because you can reproduce does not mean you should do it. A kid that you bring out into this world, it gives you a whole responsibility to go. Now you have to take care of that kid, you have to nurture that kid, and you have to even now make sure that that kid is mentally able to acclimate within this society. So even, I'm not even talking about even financially poor, you're also even mentally poor. Some even ladies out here are not even mentally able to even, they have mental poverty, and you're not even able to be a mother. Even guys are out here, they're becoming fathers too early because it's their first time to have intercourse, and then when a mother just out there, just very fast in their first time, and then they're just even getting babies haphazardly in their early 20s, and then now they're forced even early marriage in their 24. By the time they're reaching my age, boom, they're divorced. And that's a lot of people. That actually, even my age, I'm seeing a lot of divorces. That's why I say, being honest, don't be poor in mindset, also poor in even financially. Then you're out here trying to reproduce. You're trying to reproduce poverty times 7. What is this madness that you're over here trying to do? Don't be careless with your reproductive organs. Be sober-minded in everything. Yes, if you cannot pull out, use protection. Be sober in the ways that you're actually even handling things. Because being careless, just because you can engage in an activity to reproduce, does not mean that you actually have the maturity to do this. And yes, the community had to even come all the way there. Now that in itself, I think even there's a foolishness also in the community. Why the heck were you guys not even just coming over there and even bringing condoms and everything? You guys are just coming over here lecturing a lady as if she's the only one engaged in this activity. What's the man over there doing? He's also even standing up and engaging in an activity himself. The lady is not just there and laying down. You don't produce a baby by yourself. You're over here lecturing the lady about reproducing. The man is also there. He's just smiling like this, like a Dumbo. No! He's also engaged in this activity. As a man, even why did he lecture even the man as himself? The lady, yes, she's the one even pushing the baby out. But I understand even the lady is also the one who even is a barrier to intercourse. But you also have to recognize that these people, yes, they were lectured by the community because they're in abject poverty. They would never lecture them if they were financially stable to even handle these kids. Because they know what you're doing is you're just bringing more poverty into this community. Stop this madness. Behave yourself and your organs.
Okay, Simon.
It's true.
There's one thing you should know.
What?
When it comes to poverty, even poor people need to have some fun.
Yes, that's what fun is now. That's fun.
The rich are trying to ask themselves, how am I going to pay for a flight of 3 children?
Yeah.
Yes. So we have to have 2 because 3 children on a flight is too expensive.
It's not fun when you have 7 kids and you have to pay
And
7 school fees.
that is the point.
That's not fun.
So this is the point. Okay. First of all, I know the people are asking, where was family planning? Yeah, I know that is the most common question that people would be asking, where was family planning? I am assuming this woman made a choice of having those children, and if it's her choice, women should be allowed to make choices. Not alone though, because they are not parenting alone. Families should be allowed to make choices of the number of children they have. The community has no say on the number of children that a family decides to have. Some people choose to have the children based on the choice. Like, I just want many kids. I love big families. I come from a very small family myself. Like, it's just me and my big brother. So at home, meeting is not like something you can plan. You can even decide, oh, tunazapatana leo jioni. Like, it's no big deal. But then when I go to my husband's side, there are many kids. So when they come with their wives and their children, it's such a very happy, joyful family. So that is something that I get to experience on this side, but I don't get to experience on my side. But if I had a choice, and if I had good money whereby one child would not have to suffer for the other to do something, I would not have mind having many children. I'm not saying I'm poor, I'm blessed. But family planning is actually something that it's supposed to be a topic also that is supposed to be discussed in public. Only that this is the problem. Nowadays I have an issue with, and CEO is right, years are coming when people are going to have people who have less children are going to be disadvantaged.
Which way?
Because in real sense, communities are getting, like, you walk in a community now and you can't even find a crowd. People are getting less children, and some of them is not out of choice. Some of them it's because family planning has messed the situation. Some of them, their hormones are messed. So we should not ignore the fact that some people are scared of even going to those family planning, because as much as they say that 80%, 90% safe and all that, they also may hinder our choices to have more children. Like, I'm pausing, then I have the third, then I look for the third one and I don't find. Even me, if I hear someone went through that and they did not get children, I'll shy away from it. And what do? Having many children. And sometimes the knowledge that we don't have is the one that makes us make the choice that we have. And sometimes the knowledge that we have also gives us the opportunity to make that choices. That being said, there are also people who are suffering from infertility and are not able to have, they are not majority, there are few of them, and they are not able to have children. So this is such a sensitive topic when a community gets involved. Where do we draw the line off now that you have a say on this? Where the one who doesn't have kids, you go to them and tell them, you've taken a while, you're not having children. You see? If the community is given the mandate to open their mouths about people's reproductive health, let me use that, then that is borderline, crossing the line, and very shameless for them to have spoken. Because that is how now they will come and say, why are you not having children? Because now they have the right to say, why are you having many children? Keep off people's businesses.
Yeah.
They have the reasons why they make that choice.
Wanja?
Whoa, that issue, sometimes sometimes in the olden days, people used to say, my shosho had many children. What people don't know is that back then, because there was no advancement of medicine, people used to give birth to many kids because some would die. What you don't know is that when your shosho says she has like seven kids, like she had 4 stillbirths, 2 whatever, there was no maternity and there was no what. So it was like, just get many, because there are those natural calamities that will affect children and get funny diseases. That said, this issue of saying, according to me, I believe that children are an economic decision, because we live in a capitalistic world, and from the time you get children, it's an economic expense. And therefore, when people are making the decision of number of children, it should be reflected in their economic variables and status. I've seen people making jokes like, wewe mtoto anakujanga na sahani yake. That's what people are told in the whatever. Children come with their own blessings. Well, when that is said, and when we leave the giving birth of children to fate and an invisible, glorious hand, it is then that we're experiencing a lot of children in the streets of Nairobi, whereby I'm sure you've gone and sometimes you feel like, as much as you don't want to do anything, they are very aggressive children. Yeah. It's when we have experienced a lot of issues to do with neglect of children. Because you see, when you talk about children who are neglected, we assume that it's children in the streets. They are children in families, but they are neglected. They are eating 1 meal a day. They are malnourished. They are not eating proper balanced diet of fruit. Those children, the mother has so many children that they never get to go to the sports day, to go to see the teacher, to know their children's academic progress. And if you listen to children, sometimes it's good to listen to children. Children will say that hata mzazi wangu akawa anakuja visiting day. Don't talk, it's not even about the education of the big things. It's about hiyo siku hawakuja, hawa watoto wengine wazazi wao walikuja visiting hawakuja. Because this parent has like 10 kids, hajui ata prioritize mgani au mgani. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that we need to sort of shift our mindset from the traditional way venye tulikuwa tunasema mtoto ni wa community, huyu mtoto atakuwa nakula vegetables huku kwa shosheo. We live in a capitalistic world whereby everything is expensive, including entertainment. We don't have places za play in our estates. So unapata you take them like to a mall or to a place where you pay like for the games. So to me, it's not necessarily about the number of children, because you can give out to 15 of them, lakini they don't have the quality of good life. They don't have the emotional and physical well-being. They don't feel seen. You know, people say, you know, kuna watoto wengi wamefurahi, but most children will tell you, I didn't feel seen. Nilikuwa tu. Because at any given time, the mother is here, there, the father, or what have you. So the lady, maybe the reason why community confront, I would imagine, is that even them, they have seen it as a problem in their community. Maybe she's borrowing, maybe mtoto wake anatembea usiku akiwa peke yake, maybe in many instances anakuwa, sorry to say, a nuisance to the neighbors by borrowing things, by being a person who is requiring a lot of help. Maybe kwa hiyo community, other women have been empowered with family planning, but yeye ni kama ana reject. Maybe ameingia hizi kanisa zenye zinasemanga usikatumie family planning juu sijui tumia natural methods. But for me, I would say it is very selfish to just give birth because of society without a thought on the quality of life that that child will be able to have. And that's why we are seeing a lot of children feeling sad and neglected, because we are just giving birth for the sake.
But Wanja, there's something you should know. The quality of life to you is not the quality of life to someone else. There's someone who feels like my quality of life is as simple as this. You've mentioned that you'll take them to play in malls. There's someone who does not know what a mall is. For them, I'm teaching my children the basic things. They should learn basic carpentry. They should learn how to till the land. They should learn how to take care of their young ones. So to them, this is quality. And now to someone like, maybe you will be like, okay, my other kids are doing vacations. Other kids are going to international schools. Other kids have better bikes to ride in the estate or doing malls. So it also depends with someone's
It's
level
actually
of...
You know what,
subjective.
what I tell people is that if you look at the success rate of kids who come from poor families, they're very high.
Not quite, CEO.
No, many. People who are born in Eastlands here, most of them just live in their mother's home. A guy who lives a village comes and struggles in this city. You've seen empires built by those boys. People who come from villages come and see opportunities in towns. It's a fact.
Yes.
It is a fact. It is people who have privileged lives. We say economically that fire begets ashes. And many people who you see with 2 or 3 kids, given all the best in life, some of those kids end up in drugs, end
A
up
lot
in
of
very
them.
funny things. But the kid from the village who did not have a meal walks into this city today, changes his perspective, drives himself very hard. This kid who slept without food, it is a fact.
They have a push.
They have a serious push from the village as compared to our kids
Who
we've
are
given
trust
in.
fund babies.
Yeah.
But me,
I
for
call
me,
them
that,
trust fund babies.
that debate, I've always found it to be a bit funny. It's like we are always trivializing the experiences, or it's like as if to say that being wealthy or growing up well is a bad thing.
You know, you
It's
are
not a bad thing.
exposed to, you know, it's what you're exposed to. This is someone who is I'm trying to change my
Me, I'm
story.
escaping poverty.
People who are
Listen,
escaping
listen.
poverty, you are not escaping poverty, you are enjoying.
Me, I'm
And
escaping
whatever
poverty.
is exposed to you, that's what you take. Is it drugs? Bring them on. Is whatever they
Can I
want,
tell
just
you,
bring them on.
Wanja?
But for me, I don't want to ever lack food again. I don't want my child to ever lack school fees. So what am I doing? going to work hard.
I get you. I get you. Even so, even what you mentioned, even about drugs, that's a big issue. Even we discuss even about the
Yes.
youth nowadays. What's going on, even if right now, is that a lot of young people are engaging in a lot of drugs, even be it even shisha. Even right now, vaping is a very,
Very
big
big
issue
thing.
that's going on. Even in the current youth, actually, that one may be more in the middle class area because vaping is more of even you see it along those kind of things. But what's going on, even in this scenario, about even youth. You know, most people say that, oh, government should set up, use it Nakada, doing up, setting up, whatever. But I tend to understand why people are going to drugs. Because when you, as a young person, are in a place where your skill set is not being in any way gonna give you any returns, and the economy that you're in any way, that degree that even you pursued is of almost no use, and you need an escape from all these issues that you're actually undergoing, why not get the random escape and actually take a puff here and so and so there? And hence, that's why even all of these two stories that you hear, don't do drugs, make sure you stay on the straight and narrow, they just end up being like refurbished old gospel songs that we hear in the hymns in the church, and we just hear them, we know them, we don't care, we don't even care to follow suit about them. The reason why the don't do drugs message never resonates with young people, especially at times like this, because young people don't even feel heard by the same people that are claiming out here with projects about don't do drugs and everything. When a young person within a certain economy is not seeing in any way being sober is a very good place to be, so they can actually see the world for its for the way it is in a sober-minded way. It's in its sober way, it's almost very traumatic, because now what they are in pursuit of, they're always getting curtailed and blocked, and they're seeing that indeed the only way is if I know someone, or the issue is I have to now go about the bad way, in the sense now not go around stealing and everything. Primarily, if you're in the context in which drugs are heavily used and everything, you are most likely gonna take as they even take a little sip here and there. Let me see how this one tastes, even a form of experimentation, because you, of course, curiosity and at the same time escapism. That is a big thing, especially amongst the youth, and that happens a lot. Even you, have you even taken any drug even yourself?
No.
You've never taken any drug? No. That explains a lot. Even though people who are overly sober can also very scary. You don't even know. That was a very scary. You don't even, like our president himself, he's never taken you like him. The people like that are also very scary. Those are the people that you should not trust. People have not taken drugs, by the way. You people,
We are
really,
the ones
we cannot trust you,
We are
because
sober.
all you have known is sobriety. You don't know how it is to
Yes.
be closer to the Most High by getting a little bit higher.
pray,
Nyinyi,
spiritually
we have seen you
fasting.
guys. You cry in
Yes.
prayer there with your crocodile tears like the president. Kai, the book, tell us about your sobriety lifestyle. We want
No,
to hear.
what happens is this. Okay, I think maybe exposure has something to do with it. Growing up, I grew up in a place whereby I was always with my mom. Like, I was this child who was so much sheltered, and my parents, both of them, I've never seen any of that. So for me, when I had someone and then my mom used to have these words that would be like, it's a warning, but it's not a warning shot, but it's not a warning, it's just an advice I'm giving you. So such things made this, such advice and talks, and also not being exposed to that, maybe that's why I never got to that. So when I went to campus, where everything is there, I still felt that of it's wrong on my part to do that, and I can't do it. And I never had this experiment. I've never had the experimenting thing, like I want to experiment and try. So maybe I guess that's why I never did any. And right now, surely I can't start right now.
You only have one perspective in life.
Yeah.
That's sober.
And the worst thing about it is, now you see the fact that I wasn't exposed to makes me feel like sometimes our children don't learn these things from far away. Yeah. Like, you are living in a neighborhood whereby there is shisha. All your friends are participating in it. So, you can either you have a very, very strong self-control, or you'll just try. And then it will become a way of life. So most of these people were not even meant to do it. It's just that they just tried once, peer pressure, or maybe the exposure, and now they're doing it. The worst thing about it is that it actually that moment that they are young and they are losing their lives so much because they are losing the time that they were supposed to be in their youth, sober enough to think of what they are doing. Now what are they doing? Dedicated that time to drugs, and we don't know where our future
Manja,
is
are you
headed.
sober?
We, me, you know, I
You only
remember,
take occasional wine.
nakumbuka Steve Simple Boy anaimbanga ile wimbo anasema oh sijui nini vijana tuache miadarati ndi Steve Simple Boy, by the way, he has a new look now. Amekuwa Rastaman. Who was in the eye of the storm, but
I'm
that's beside
I'm going to Google that today.
but that's really beside the point. I think your story are youth and drugs, and particularly that one where we are talking about high school students, it's actually quite really sad because you can just tell the trajectory of some sort of a generation that is on the path of destruction. But that statistic is also from the coast. There's something about those two drugs and the coast that should be studied wider, and wonder why the children in that region are becoming the high affinity for wanting to try drugs in the coast. Because I've heard, even we've seen documentaries even on media and what have you. But you know, sometimes I usually, you know, the other day I was seeing the teachers who are striking, and of course they have their rights. And they were singing songs and saying, sasa tumewaacha wafunzwe na ulimwengu. They were dancing and saying that sasa wamegoma wacha watoto wao. Asiyefunzwa na mwalimu hufunzwa na ulimwengu ama na mzazi or something. You know, it has come to a time where our children, as parents, you just have to be a serious parent who is working closely with the teacher and showing great concern, because it's more or less like the teachers are like, me, my job is to teach and to go home. But then again, the parents sasa anafaa kuangalia tabia huyo mtoto wake, huyo mtoto ana behave aje, anavuta nini, probably become friends with that child, because I'm imagining there could be behavior change huyo mtoto wa high school akianza kuvuta hizo vitu. Then again, I ask myself, what is this about high school students that is stressing them or making them feel like they need to be in a certain high? Is it peer pressure? Is it accessibility of the drugs? Is it that there is no much parental monitoring of the children? People below the age of 18, people in high school are minors. They cannot consent to anything. They have no control. They should not even be allowed to engage in such trade. But then again, this issue of drug has so many facets. Muuzaji anauzia watoto, pia yeye ako na makosa. Mzazi, unaelewa maisha ya mtoto wako. Teachers, is it your job? So for me, I see it as a very scary thing, because we know the issue of addictions. We also know the close correlation between mental health and these drugs. So you wonder, in the next 10 years, these are youth who should be agile to be able to do nation building. Wakikuwa addicts, how will it's a wasted opportunity. It's quite sad, but I think the people in the coast, the leaders and all stakeholders, really think they need to ask themselves hard questions.
CEO, what do you think?
You see, drug issue is always very emotive in the society, because Kenya is a hub of international drug trade. And that's why when you say about the coastal region, all the big drug cartels are operating around the coast. And that's where they get their way to either Eastern Europe or to Asia. So naturally, Mombasa being a hub, or coastal region being a hub, there's high affinity of young people getting engaged in drugs, because it's available in that area, and it's more prevalent because that's a trade route of all these drugs. It's one of the known trade routes. So, and that's why you've seen many people around the coastal region, as early as 10, 15 years, kids are abusing either this sort of drug or not. And this has also gone into the city. Even in Nairobi, there are many people who have actually taken up that thing, because they realize when there's availability of drugs, do you know the cocaine sellers playbook, how they do?
They give a sample out.
Their playbook is very simple.
Yeah.
The first time, you don't buy.
You're free.
He comes to the neighborhood today and makes sure that he gets all the young guys and tells them, gives them for free. It's a playbook. Everyone is given for 3 weeks for free. You taste, you try, you like, and you're not spending. And then all of a sudden,
Price.
he pulls it out. Now he tells you, you have to buy at a certain price, and it's very high. Then that's when now this addiction kicks in. So I think the biggest thing in our lives is that to make sure that we train our kids not to get engaged in these drugs. We have to have active participation on how we can have the discussions of the dangers of drugs and the type of drugs people are abusing. Because we have to categorize them. Because there are others which the effects are so bad and ruins a person permanently. There are others which they can recover through a rehab, but there are others which you'll never recover.
That's true, because, and when it comes to even drugs, but now here's the thing, I also say everything's moderation. Because also, when you're too sober for life, you only have one perspective in life.
no.
So even if you do drugs, it always
Abstain
do it
from
in
drugs,
moderation.
Simon.
So take your
away.
wine,
Stay
take your
away.
whatever,
No,
in
stay
moderation.
away.
Reject,
And
reject,
seriously,
reject,
Cheers to the
reject.
weekend.
No, Simon.
Everything you take it in moderation.
Yes.
Nothing in excess.
It's been real, but Simon is changing. He's never even taken wine.
Yeah, it's what I did.